Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and last night, November 17th, Heritage just closed on a number of vintage Star Wars auctions that I wanted to go through. They also do, I didn't do a preview video for them, but they do have very high-end kind of premier auction type items that are currently available at Heritage. Nothing I can afford. I mean, we're talking pre-production chromolins and first shot prototypes, lots of early 12 backs in high grade. So if you're into that, you might want to go check out heritageha.com and sign up for an account and all that good stuff. Because as you'll see in this video, there were a number of really good deals. In my opinion, some of them well below fair market value that were absolute steals. So not everything, but there were some really good deals in here, and I wanted to go through those for today's video. As always, thanks to my Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up for early access. All right, so here was the Star Wars early bird figure set, and this one sold, it was ungraded. It looks like it includes everything, question mark, for $3,500. All of the prices I'm quoting include the buyer's premium. It does not include sales tax or shipping. And obviously your sales tax will vary by state, but the shipping is pretty reasonable on Heritage's items. So let's see what we got here. It says each figure is sealed except Luke Skywalker, who is loose in the bag. So that, you know, will keep the price down, obviously. So this is not like a gradable example. And I can't tell by these photos whether this is, it looks to me, just looking at the Luke, it looks like it's not, well, maybe it is. I can't tell. I can't tell if that's the double telescoping version or not. To me, it looks like it's not. It looks like the standard version. But, you know, this is kind of a poor man's early bird kit, just given that it's not graded and the Luke was not still sealed in the early baggie. I think that's an SWA baggie for Luke Skywalker. But, you know, for those of you that want an early bird kit and you can't afford the crazy graded prices, this is not a bad, you know, a bad option there. But I wanted to at least show that one, since that's something that you don't see too often. And I think that $3,500 number is probably right in line with fair market value. Here's an interesting one. This was a 12A vinyl Cape Jawa mint on card, AFA 30. So as you can see in the lower portion of the card, unfortunately, it was missing from where they tore off the proof of purchase. I bet they would like to take that one back. If they could go back in time and not tear off the proof of purchase on a vinyl Cape Jawa, I'm sure they would do that. Here's the label on it. It had an 80 and a 90 subscore, card 30, because of tearing off the proof of purchase. That is an absolute shame, because if they had left it intact, you're probably talking, you know, let's say it was an AFA 80 all in, you're probably in the, what, ballpark of $18,000 to $20,000 instead of, you know, what it sold for, which was $5,500. And, you know, when you think about an AFA 90 vinyl Cape Jawa loose graded, you're probably at this ballpark, right? It's probably in the ballpark of $4,000 to $5,000 for an AFA 90 loose graded vinyl Cape Jawa. Now, would it get the figure score of 90 if you sent it in for loose grading? Probably not, right? But let's say it's an 85 grade, and 85 grade's worth, let's call it $3,500. So you're getting a mint on card vinyl Cape Jawa for not substantially more than that. And yes, it's a poor man's, you know, a poor man's example, but it's still a sealed, mint and seal card vinyl Cape Jawa for not much more than what a high grade loose graded version of the vinyl Cape Jawa would sell for. So I would say that that's a pretty fair deal. Here was an AFA 75 double telescoping saber Luke Farm Boy. That one only sold for $1,000. I mean, that's a very fair deal, I think, for what it is. After shipping and everything, if I was going to be the one that bought that, it's probably $1,150. And, you know, I would say $1,150 is about what it would probably sell for on eBay, if not higher than that. So very fair. Here was the dark brown-haired Luke Farm Boy. This is not to be confused with the standard Hong Kong brown hair. The dark brown hair is much fewer in number. They only came on like ESBs and like Return of the Jedi Transition 48 backs. It's a very small sample size of this dark brown hair. And that one sold for $250. It was an AFA 80, brand new case style. So I thought that was very fair. Next up, we've got some store displays as well as 12 backs I wanted to show you. Here was a 12 action figure Bell display, and that one was an AFA 80 plus and sold for $27.50. Very cool example there if you're into those store displays. Here was a 12 back A Darth Vader punched example graded AFA 80 plus. That sold for $2,500, and that's about what I would have expected to be. If someone had sent the photos of this to me and said, "What do you think it's going to sell for?" I would have just, because I don't know much about 12 back values, I would have said $2,500. That would have been my number. So I think that one was kind of right in line with fair market value. Next up was a 12 back C unpunched, no price sticker, AFA 80 for R2-D2, and we've seen similarly graded examples go for more than this price of $1062.50 on eBay. So very fair price on that one. It wasn't a steal by any means, but it was certainly well within fair market value. Back to the store displays, we've got a 21 Collect All 21 store display graded AFA 85. Very nice, and that one sold for $27.50. $27.50 seems very low for what it is, but that is a really cool store display. And looking at the the figures there, I mean, it's just I love this display. This is a very nice one. These are just so big. I mean, you got to have a lot of display space for something this large, because they truly are. I mean, they're massive, and I've seen other people's examples of these on on Facebook and things like that, but AFA 85 for $27.50 seems like a very fair deal. Here was a Star Wars Toy Galaxy display with kind of the ships fighting. That one was an AFA 75 plus and sold for $16.25. Again, this is not a market I know very well, so I don't really have much comment in terms of fair market value. But here was one of those retail display header cards, and so these were slid into boxes with the figures, laid out in front. It's kind of like a point of sale display. And that one was, again, an AFA 75 with a promo sticker, special offer promo sticker. That one sold for $22.50. And then here was another one with the rocket firing action sticker on the store display. That one was an AFA 60 and sold for $21.25. And so that one went for a little bit less money than the AFA 75. But I actually like this one better because it shows the rocket firing mechanism that was planned for Boba Fett there in the store display. So very cool item there. Next up was a 21 back B AFA 80 plus for Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot. Punched example, no price sticker, beautiful blister, $11.87. Again, probably about in line with market for what it is. And after you factor in taxes and everything, you're getting close to $1,500, which you could make an argument that this one actually went for a couple $100 less than where we've seen them sell for in other locations. This I thought was a very good deal. It's always tough to find an ESB Darth Vader, no matter what the grade. And this was a clear blister. It did have a price sticker in the upper left-hand corner, but this was a 47 back, 4-LOM offer, punched example, AFA 75 plus for $550. I mean, that's a great deal. That's a really good deal for an AFA 75 plus. And likewise, this was a good deal. This was an unpunched 47 back for Luke Skywalker Hoth. It was graded AFA 80 plus. Obviously, it did have some yellowing to the blister, but still, that one was very nice and sold for $525. I mean, that's a good deal. Very good deal. I have this particular example punched with only light yellowing to the blister. This obviously has more moderate yellowing, but mine's punched, and I paid, $700 or $800 for mine. So this was an unpunched, admittedly with more yellowing to it, but sold for quite a bit less at $525. Next up was a clear blister Luke Skywalker Bespin Fatigues on the same card back, the 47 back, unpunched, and it did have some price stickers. That sold for $525. I mean, that's a bargain. And here are the subgrades, 75, 80, 75. Obviously, the torso has some yellowing to it, but it looks like it's the mustard hair. Looking at that Luke Bespin there, you can see the torso discoloration, which happens on almost every single brown-haired Luke. But man, clear blister, AFA 75, that's for $525, that's a good deal. That's a really good deal. $525 for that. great deal. Next up, we had a Palatoy 65D, and this one had, for Luke Farm Boy, this one had the double stem blister. So very, very cool. This is one I just picked up, or I think I don't know which one, but it's a Palatoy double stem blister Dengar that got the 75 from AFA. And this one was 80, 70, 80. And that one sold for $781. $781 seems like an absolute bargain for a Luke Farm Boy on a Return of the Jedi card back. Clear blister, double stem. I bet there's not many of these graded on this population report. But, you know, like my Dengar was like only one of maybe 7 that have been graded. So I thought that was a really good deal at $781. This Tri-Logo Squid Head went for a little bit more than I expected. It sold for $313.75. This was an AFA 80. And there was another AFA 80 that just sold on eBay for $200. So this one was a little bit of an overpay relative to, and it's same night. They both ended the same night. So this one was maybe a little bit of an overpay just given what it is. Now the blister on this one does look nicer than the one that sold on eBay, but is it paying 50% nicer? No. So that one was a little bit of an overpay in my opinion. Here was an AFA 85 Yak Face. That one sold for $637. Brand new case style on that one, and AFA 85, $637, and that's, you know, even after factoring in taxes and shipping, you're at $750 or so. I mean, we've seen some AFA 85s go for significantly above $750, so that's a very good deal there. Next up, this was probably actually the bargain of the auction. So this is the Toll Toys mail away for both 9-num and 4-lum. And they were both graded AFA 85, I think. Let's see. Yeah, AFA 85s for both of them. And you got both of them for $251. What an absolute bargain of a deal. I've got an AFA 85 for the Toll Toys 4-lum, and I paid $400 just for that. This is for both of them, and you got it for $251. So somebody got an absolute steal there. I mean, that is an absolute bargain of a deal there. Next up, I've got some Power of the Force. This was an AFA 75 for Darth Vader. Obviously, it had some pretty ugly sticker residue in the upper left-hand corner there that you can see. But still, $625, that's probably about market. An AFA 80 or 85 is in that $800 to $1,000 ballpark. So $625 is probably about market there. This I thought was another good deal. This was an AFA 80 unpunched Amonomon. Obviously yellowing with the Toys R Us price sticker, but $475 is a deal. I mean, you know, here's the label on it, 80, 85, 85. The back of the card looks beautiful, unpunched, with the Toys R Us price sticker for $475. So somebody got a good deal there. And then finally, here was the Droids A-Wing pilot. And we've seen a number of examples that have sold on eBay for between anywhere from on the low end, let's call it $800 to up to $1,400, depending on the grade and things like that. This was unpunched with 2 price stickers, but, you know, fairly light yellowing to the blister. And that one sold for $1031. So it kind of fell right in line towards the middle of some of the recent sales prices we've seen on eBay. So not a bad deal at all. But there obviously are some good deals on Heritage. Okay, you got to keep an eye out. Now, in all fairness, the auction that's ending at the end of this month, or excuse me, at the end of December, or maybe it's like early December 6th, 9th, somewhere in there. The items in that auction are significantly better. I mean, there are some very high grade, very rare items. So you're going to be competing against a lot of very deep pockets potentially. And so again, use that strategy we always talk about. Try to find the more common items that you know you've been wanting for your collection to fill a hole, and maybe you'll get a good deal. And you know, the auction process for Heritage is not like Hakes. For Heritage, you got to be live, and it's all within a certain time frame. It's just really, really annoying. I got to be honest with you. It's incredibly annoying to bid on items for Heritage most of the time. I think all of these were online only, though, because I didn't get the phone notification letting me know that the live auction was happening. But for next month, that auction, there are going to be live bidding where you got to be at your computer or be on your phone as the auction is ending, or put in a nuclear bid beforehand, before the live bidding starts. It's just a really annoying process. I don't particularly like to buy on Heritage. I got to be honest with you, but there are some rare items coming up next month, which I'm sure I'll cover at length in a market recap for the December auctions. Thank you as always for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, and I'll be back soon.